Hello and welcome to another 3-string guitar lesson. So, hot on the heels of those great sounding soul chords in the last video, this is Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan, which was from the soundtrack of Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, and it is a great sounding song. It's 4 chords, so really good for beginners. We can keep it dead simple and play the cowboy chords down here, and this is the same key as the original, so it's quite slow as well, you know, so it's a good one to learn a few chord shapes with and try and play along with the actual original, which you can find very here on YouTube. And we can also sort of spice it up a little bit and use some of those different shapes, those different inversions or the triad shapes in different places on the fretboard that I was looking at in the previous video. If you have a little bit more experience, you can sort of branch out and use some of those. There was a well-known top-hatted LA 80s hair metal band which covered this to great success, and if you wanted to ramp it up a little bit in the chorus, you can use power chords as well. I was doing some there, so I'll cover all of that, but I reckon let's just get straight on with having a go at the tune. So, as with the last few videos, we are still using this same set of strings from last year. So I'm currently on strings 4, 3, 2 from this regular 6-pack set for a regular guitar, and actually tuned to the same strings as strings 4, 3, 2 on a regular 6-string. So it's a D, G, B. As I was saying, I'm using slightly heavier than normal strings, but you can experiment to see what works for you. So here's low D, here's middle G, and here's high B. So those 3 notes form a G chord. It's all about the G chord with these 3-string tunings. It's just putting them in a slightly different order, and that is the first chord of Knocking on Heaven's Door. 4 chords in total. And it basically goes from that G, so we can start with the open, keep it dead simple, to D. Now if you remember from the soul chords of saying you can do what we call a D power chord, just 2 of the 3 regular notes in a D chord down here, and it's fret 2 on the middle string, fret 3 on the high B string, keep that low D ringing, Eddie fingers 1 and 3, 1 and 2, that's fine. And then a 3-fingered shape, so it goes to a minor chord as the 3rd chord here, which is an A minor. So it's fret 1 at string 1, fret 2 at strings 2 and 3. So fret 1 for the B string, fret 2 for the G and the low D strings. So this is going to be the most difficult one to play, because you know you need a bit more pressure. But like I was saying in the soul video, if you've tried 6-string before and you find it fiddly, this will be a lot easier because the strings are much further apart. The most difficult thing about fretting chords is bridging, curling your fingers round so that you're not too flat and catching strings underneath. Curl right round, like see where you want to have your thumb. You know, you can have it like this. If you want a bit more pressure, you can have it back round the back of the neck. But essentially, you've just got to just try and get all of those ringing out. As a beginner, you've always got to remember to get as close as you can to the frets. You can't always get every single finger when you're doing a 2 or 3 fingers shape right next to frets, but you know, you do the best you can. Fret 1 wants to be pretty close. So that's an A minor. So the first half of the chord sequence, because it's literally 1 chord sequence all the way through this song, so it is a really good one to play for beginners. G, that D power chord, and then that A minor. Back to G, back to D. Instead of A minor, we're going to C. Now they're very, very similar to each other, so 3 fingers for A minor, ditch that one, you're just on fret 1 on the high B, and you're on fret 2 on the low D, and you've got a middle open string, so you try and let that ring out. That is a C. Second half of the chord sequence, there's the D, there's the C. So, as a beginner, stop this video, practice that loads. Might take you a week to get those down if you've not done much in the way of chord playing, but continue from this point when you can. And so basically, we've got the first two chords are shorter, or they don't last for as long. They only last for 2 beats. So the G lasts for 2. You probably just want to do downstrokes to start with. The D lasts for 2. And then the A minor lasts for 4. Now, if you want to try and practice, one of the hardest things as a beginner is getting your fretting hand to keep up with the speed that you're strumming, because the last thing you want to do is stop every time you change chord, because then the song's completely fragmented and it doesn't work. So if you're maybe wanting to try and play along with the original track, once you've got this sequence down, you might want to keep the strumming dead simple and just do downstrokes, so you're mapping out the beat basically. So you've got 2 Gs, 2 strums, 2 beats on G, you've got 2 strums on D, and you've got 4 on A minor, and then you've got another 2 beats, another 2 strums on G, another 2 on D, and then 4 on C. So you just swap out the A minor and put a C in the second time, which sounds a bit like this. Here we go. G, 2 strums there, 2 strums on D, 4 on A minor, 2 strums on D, and then 4 on C. Now that's the intro, it's also the verse. Let's do it again. There's 2 Gs, there's 2 Ds, it's also the chorus. It's basically that all the way through, dead simple but very effective. 4 strums on A minor, G, D for 2, and then C for 4. So one of the hardest things is getting those, like I said, getting those changes fast enough so you're keeping up with the rhythm. You know, you can play slower than that. It's quite easy, hopefully, to go from the G to that chord. You know, you can probably get the D chord down with a bit of practice, but how do you get from that to that? So you can see, I mentioned this in the soul chords one, you want to actually relax in between changes, so everything comes off. Don't leave fingers on and try and reposition. Everything comes off because there aren't any what we call common notes, so going from there to there, fingers jump off at the same time, and you relaxed and you flip round, finger 2 at the top, finger 1 at the bottom, and only at the last minute do you put the pressure back on. So if you're relaxed in between the changes, it allows you to actually move your whole arm, your wrist. I'm even moving from my shoulder there. If you can see my elbow moving, it's actually the movement starting from my shoulder. So that really helps you to be able to move a little bit more fluently. Again, this is the sort of thing that it might take you a week, it might take you 2 weeks, depending on, you know, how sort of flexible you feel your fingers and your wrist is and stuff. But try and keep relaxed. No death grip, it'll sort of slow you right down to your sort of grind to a halt. But that is basically the easy version. And once you can do that, if we wanted to do some kind of strumming to it, so down, 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 up, change, down, down, up, change. Sorry, that's A minor. And you do it for twice as long on the A minor, so it's down, 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 up, down, 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 up. Okay. Now, in order to get the changes a bit smoother, you could, on the upstroke, actually do it on the open chords, open strings rather, sorry. So instead of having to move double quick. As you're in the middle of changing, the upstroke is happening here. So down, down, up. Open up to A minor, and then again open up to C. And if you wanted to add a little bit more into it, because like I said, you can play the entire song like that, we can just use some of those inversions, those different triad shapes from the previous soul video. So G, I could play a G up here, and like I was saying, I can select any variation of open strings and fretted notes if I know it's a G in particular, because all of these strings work because it's a G as an open strum. So I can start there, I can add that one in just for a bit of variation, or I can go for this full shape 5-4-3. Check the previous video for more details if you want. And then instead of that 2-fingered D power chord, I could add that one in. You might find that a bit of a stretch. If so, don't do it. So that's a D. A minor, because we're on the A minor for twice as long, I can start off there and I could maybe go up to this one. So that's a 2-fingered bar, 2-string bar, sorry, on fret 5 on the higher 2 strings, and then fret 7 for the bass. So that's my A. So or I could, that D shape, I could go up here for a G. 9, 7, 8. Again, watch your bridging. There's a D, fret 7. So it's the same as the open tuning. And then I'll go there for C if I'm doing it the second time round the chord. So there's a C. I could even, that diagonal G shape, go up to frets 10, 9, 8. You know, so again, I'd strongly recommend having a look at the soul video, because it goes a little bit more into detail as to how you can find the same chords in different shapes, different inversions up and down the fretboard. However, one thing I didn't cover on that one was power chords, apart from that one. So Guns N' Roses version obviously kicks in with distortion in the chorus. I imagine you've heard it. If not, check it out. Sounds pretty good. Fret 5, fret 7, fret 8. That is almost a G, but without the third note in the chord. I've just doubled those two up. So that works pretty well with distortion. That's a G5, G power chord. And then I can go up here. So that is a bar at fret 7, and then if I go right up with my pinky finger to fret 10 of the high string, that is also a power chord, but that's a D power chord. And then the first time round in the chorus, we're still going to A minor as the third chord, so G, A is exactly 2 frets higher. So G was 5, 7, 8, A is 7, 9, 10. So chorus. There's the A minor, or A power chord, sorry, and then there's my G, there's my D again. Now I want C the second time, down 2 frets, there's a C power chord. You know, so those shapes, if I did want to rock out, those shapes are going to sound better if I sort of crank the amp a bit for the chorus. And then that's about it. I hope that was fun to play, and I hope it's fun to jam along with the original track itself when you've got all those changes down. And speaking of the hair metal top-hatted LA band from the 80s who covered this tune, I may well look at one of theirs in the very next video, which works particularly well in this tuning. So watch this space for possibly one of the most recognisable guitar riffs of all time. So I will see you here again soon on Coda Guitar.